All right, Colt, let's start talking about some college football and a little bit about UT. What do you think about the new playoff? You a fan? You like it, 12 teams?
I love the playoff. I mean, I listen, if we would have had that when I was back in school, I would have loved it because the best team's going to win. A lot of great matchups. Really a team can get hot if you just get into the playoffs, and I'm so glad that college football structured it that way, and we've got some great games in the semifinals this week. Texas and Ohio State, Notre Dame and Penn State. I mean, these teams are all very good, and it's going to be a ton of fun.
Listen, you got a chance to be a college football analyst this year, and I saw you behind the mic in the booth. What'd you think about the experience?
I enjoyed it. I had a great opportunity to work with NBC this year, calling all the Big Ten games. So I wasn't that familiar with the Big Ten, but I learned it, and there's some great football teams up there, great coaches. It really gave me a chance to stay around the game and be involved. And there was a lot to learn when you get into the booth. There's technical things and people in your ear and preparing for all these matchups, but it was a ton of fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, that producer in your ear, every now and again you got to tell them to pipe down. That's the way that works.
When they're talking in your ear and you're on live TV, and it's an art for sure. The guys who do it well and have done it a long time are really spectacular at what they do.
All right, I want to keep you in analyst mode for a second because I want to ask some questions about the University of Texas. What do you like most, and what strikes you about the way that Steve Sarkisian attacks opponents and the way that Quinn Ewers tries to execute the game plan?
Yeah, listen, when you look at all of college football, I don't think there's a better play caller than Steve Sarkisian. I mean, he's done it in the NFL. He's had top 10 offenses there, and he's doing it again in college football. I think the way that he's built a team is really impressive. From the quarterback position, I think we've got the best quarterback room in all the country.
Right.
Quinn and Arch, and looking back at my time at Texas is always going to get the top quarterback. And I think now with Sarkisian calling plays, everybody wants to go play there, which is really cool. Great for the university. And I think just Coach Sark's ability to build a team and a coaching staff. I think Coach Kwiatkowski on defense may have the best defense in the country, the way they've played all year. And just the talent level. I remember watching college football early in the season. I called an Ohio State game, and I was out at midfield and was talking to Ryan Day, and I kind of spouted off. I probably shouldn't have, but I spouted off and said, listen, I've watched a lot of college football. This was like week 6. And I said, I think that Ohio State and Texas are on a crash course to meet each other late in the year. And he was like, whoa, we're playing Michigan State. This is our first Big Ten road matchup. Like, don't go there. Don't even wish that upon us. We got a lot of work to do. And speaking from a coach, I totally get his point there. But what my eyes saw was telling me that both these two teams are the most talented teams. Now, they got a long ways to go to meet up, and now here we are. And they get to play here at AT&T Stadium, and it's going to be a great game. I think for me, it's pretty cool because I was talking to John Bianco, our sports information director, and he was like, you do realize that you've been a part of the only 3 matchups that Texas has played Ohio State. My first year as a freshman, I was redshirting. We flew up to Columbus, and that was the year we won the national championship with Vince Young. I was his backup, and we beat Ohio State, which was an amazing game. And then the next year they came to Texas. That was my second start of my career, and we ended up getting beat late in the game, and that was a tough one. Ohio State went on to play in the national championship that year. It was Troy Smith, Teddy Ginn, all those guys. And then we got a chance to play them in the Fiesta Bowl in 2008, and that was a great game too. So if I know anything, which I don't know a whole lot, but if I know anything, it's going to be a great game again this weekend.
And listen, hopefully you will run into Coach Day so that you can remind him, hey, Coach, I may have brought this up.
I was right. I was right a long time ago. I don't think it was hard to see that, but just watching football and kind of breaking down teams throughout the year, both sides of the ball. I think Texas and Ohio State were the most talented teams from a skill position standpoint, from a interior O-line, D-line standpoint, linebackers, and then from a coaching standpoint. I think Chip Kelly and Ryan Day and Jim Knowles, they're fantastic coaches. And so it's going to be an awesome matchup. I mean, college football is lucky that this is where we're at this weekend.
Let's talk about 4th and 13 with everything on the line in overtime. Quinn Ewers throws an absolute dot, and Texas goes on to win that game. What did you learn about Quinn Ewers? What did you learn about the University of Texas because of 4th and 13?
Yeah, that's right. 4th and 13, what a play. What a play by Quinn. What a play by Matthew Golden. What a play call, 4th and 13. I mean, I think that's been Texas's issue for a lot of this year. Is they come out right out of the gates, and then they just haven't really put teams away. I mean, you look at it, it was 24-8, and had full control of the game, and we let them back in, and then you put yourself in that position, and we figured out a way to win. It was perfectly executed, well picked up by the offensive line. Nobody talks about that. That pressure, that blitz, them being able to sort that out and give Quinn time to, make that double move throw for a touchdown. I mean, just a huge play. I mean, you go back to that game, we scored 15 points in 30 seconds. It changed the entire game and put us in the position to go to the semifinals. And in a huge moment, a huge game, obviously they figured it out. I think for us to beat Ohio State this weekend, there can't be that lull. I think our defense has played outstanding all year long. They've got their hands full. This matchup is tough. These receivers from Ohio State, this run game, the things that they present to you from an offensive standpoint, it's going to be a big test. But I feel great about it. I mean, I think Texas is positioned to win it all, and this will be their biggest matchup, biggest test so far for sure.
Your analyst skills are very well honed, Colt. That's great stuff.
Yeah.
But I do want to ask you about being a UT fan. At 4th and 13 in that frenetic overtime, are you just like every other Longhorn fan? Are you pulling your hair out while you're watching the game, or are you more measured and calm?
Well, I was supposed to go to the game,
right?
And being my first year out of the NFL, we had scheduled a family ski trip, and so I skiing with my kids, which I love. It was awesome. It was a great time together. And so every time we get on the chairlift, I would pull up my phone and I would have it going, and all the kids were watching. Then we would ski down real fast so we could get back on the chairlift. And second half, I was kind of watching. I was like, okay, 24-8, we're doing good. And then all of a sudden it was 24-24. I was like, guys, strap up. We're going to the lodge. We're going to go finish watching this game. And so I got down there late in the fourth quarter and got to watch both overtimes. It was a crazy, crazy game. But the experience that I had watching it as a fan was awesome. I mean, it was the best.
And because you've been in some of those moments before, does it bring you back to certain places? Like when you watch the joy and euphoria when they won that game, does that bring you back to certain places in your career?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, listen, I've been a part of a lot of really good teams, and especially in college. I was fortunate to have great coaches and great teammates, and we were in a lot of close games, big matchups. And any time that you're on a team with that much to play for and in the college football playoff, I mean, I can't imagine being a college football player right now knowing that, okay, the best team is going to figure this out in the end. The best team's going to win. We get all these matchups, great games. I mean, first time for Texas to host a playoff game. How awesome is that as a fan? And so, yeah, I think this is incredible. And anytime you can pull out a win in those big moments and kind of rise to the occasion, Texas put themselves in that situation. So for them to kind of lose the momentum of the game and then get it right back in overtime, that big play in fourth down, and then score right away the next time they get the ball, like that's the sign of a really, really well-coached football team with veteran players, and that's why I think Texas is really poised to do something special.
All right, I could talk about football all day. I'm going to stop because I do want to talk more about growing up as Colt. And the first thing I want you to do, it's a little different, because I think this will be very interesting to a lot of people at home. If you would, can you look dead into that camera and say, "My name is," and then state your given name?
My name is Daniel Colt McCoy. Always gone by Colt. My dad, my brother, my grandpa, and my great-grandpa, we've all gone by our middle names. And when I got married, my wife was like, listen, we are not going by middle names anymore. No one's given me an explanation why we did that. I don't know. But it's been great because a lot of people don't know Daniel. So on my driver's license or when I'm out in public and I go to a restaurant, you put your name on the list, I put, nobody knows who that is, right? Unless they see my face. So that's been helpful, but it also presents some challenges too. Like, wait, I thought you were Colt, and oh, you're Daniel. And some of my closest friends call me Danny, but that I don't like that much.
Oh, you don't? Does anyone in the family still
all
call you?
All my offensive linemen throughout the years, you're friends with those guys, and you take them out to dinner, and you spend time, and they always called me Danny, and so nobody knew what was, so I get phone calls, or my name might be in their phone as Danny or whatever, but I go by Colt.
It's a special bond
There
with
you
those
go.
guys who
That's
protected
right.
you, right? Does anyone in the family call you Daniel? Anybody?
No.
No.
Everybody's called me Colt. I mean, from the day I was born, that's what I went by, but yeah, I think it's just something that our family has done for years and years. Go by your middle name, but my kids go by their first name now. But is what it is.
You and I share something that's really cool. Like you, my dad was my coach for a few years. It was just grade school baseball, but still, having your dad as a coach is something special. What will you remember about that time in your life?
Yeah, my dad was my football coach. All growing up, he was the coach. And so from 3 years old, I was the water boy on the sidelines to going to basketball games, to going to baseball games. He was the athletic director, small towns, West Texas. It was special. And, I think my dad did a great job of being able to be coach when he needed to be coach. But, when we got home, he was also my dad. And his ability to separate those two what was pretty special for me. I feel very privileged in that. And, my love for the game, I think, developed throughout my life because I was always around it. And that's what my dad did. And, I thought forever I would grow up to be a coach. I dreamed of playing college football. I don't know if I ever dreamed of being able to play in the NFL. I knew where I grew up, and that's really hard to break that barrier. And, I think when I went to UT, not a whole lot of people understood that or expected me to play. We came from a small town. I think I had an advantage because all of these Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning and the Garrett Gilberts, the five-star guys that come, Vince Youngs that come to UT, there's a lot of pressure on their plate right away. And I think for me, I came in a little bit under the radar. There wasn't really that many expectations. Now those expectations grew once I started playing, but I think it was very helpful for me, and I'm very thankful for where I grew up and the way I was raised, and having my dad as a football coach and as a mentor and as a leader. I feel very fortunate from that standpoint, and loved growing up where I grew up, out in West Texas, a small town. I think at the end of the day, lived in a lot of places. Played in New York City, Washington, D.C., San Francisco, Phoenix. I mean, I lived in big markets, big places, and I think in my core, I've always dreamed of getting back closer to where I grew up and the way I was raised. And grandparents had a farm and spent a lot of time out there growing up, and just trying to find a place to settle and raise my family and plant my roots. And there's no better place to do that for me. And prayed about it a long time, and Fort Worth has become that. And it's a very special place, and I'm very honored to kind of call that home.
I'm going to come back to that, but before I do, I want to ask you about one bit of philosophy that your dad shared, and I think it's spot on. He said, prepare the child for the path, not the path for the child. How did that set you up for success, Colt?
Yeah, I think it's really true. I mean, I really see that my mom and dad sort of lived by that, right? I used to always think, man, this is challenging, this is hard, and they let me figure things out. And being in a small town in West Texas where Friday Night Lights is, the whole town shuts down. I wished I could have started as a freshman. In my mind and in my heart, I should have. But at the end of the day, my dad was not going to let that happen, and he was going to make me earn it. And every year, he was going to make me earn it. And there's a lot of politics when you're out in the Friday Night Lights area. And I think the assistant coaches on his staff had to convince him, like, hey, look, I think Colt can play quarterback. I think we're good. He's earned the right to do that. But at the same time, I remember when I checked into campus at UT, I remember my dad spending a lot of time with Coach Brown, and he was like, hey, listen, he's a coach's kid. He's ready for this. He's ready to do the hard things. Don't you worry about that. And I think that held true because Coach Brown, nothing was ever easy. He made me earn the job every year, and it's how it's always been for me most of my life, and I really, really appreciate that. And I know that he loved me and cared for me and wanted the best for me and all those things as a dad now that I have kids. But at the same time, letting us figure some things out and kind of channeling some things, but also like not making it easy for you ever. It's ultimately very rewarding for me.
Yeah, work through the work. There is value in that. Work through the work. I'm curious now that your football playing career is done. When you look back, You're at Jim Ned, play for a 2A state championship. At UT, play for a BCS championship. 14-year career in the NFL, several NFL teams. Can you look back and appreciate the fact that you have kind of lived the dream of a lot of Texas high school football players?
Yeah, listen, I'm a huge advocate for small-town Texas high school football players. I think there are some amazing football players. There's lots of talent across this state, and I always took pride in the fact of where I grew up and what I was able to do. And there was a ton of people that played a role in that. I mean, it's not just me. Listen, so many people came alongside and helped me and gave me advice and gave me some encouragement, and along this road. And I remember graduating from high school and saying, okay, I get an opportunity to go play at the flagship school in our state. Like, I'm going to give my absolute best effort. I mean, this doesn't happen all the time. I can't even tell you how or what Coach Brown saw in me to be able to get a scholarship to go to UT. And so I carry a lot of pride in being able to represent a lot of football players in this state and the opportunity that I had. I mean, listen, not very many guys get to play 4 years at any university, much less the University of Texas. And that was important to me. And so I stuck around and played my senior year and had a chance to win a national championship. And then I think just that those lessons I learned and the way I was raised obviously gave me an opportunity to go play in the NFL, and got to play for 14 years and be on some really good teams and some teams that struggled at times. But you're always learning. From when I was very young, I always was eager to learn and get better, and what are the ways that I can improve? What are some things that I can do myself? Maybe that's sacrificing some things. Maybe that's developing my skills in a different way. Even when I was at UT, every year I would sit back and be like, okay, I did this pretty good. I didn't do this great, so I need to really work on this. And I think that's just a product of being a coach's kid and being around coaching for a long time. But at the end of the day, it's the only way I knew. And moving into this transition to running my own company and being a part of HPI and starting a Fort Worth office, I think I have the same mentality. Always learning, willing to grow, want to be surrounded by great people, build a great team. All those things that are lessons and experiences that I learned from football that I think will apply as I get going in this new venture.
One tough lesson that you had to learn from football, that BCS championship game against Alabama. Have you come to grips with it? And if so, how long did it take and how did you do it?
Did I come to grips with that injury and in that moment? I mean, yes, I have, I think, over time. I think for me, it was obviously personally really hard, right? First time I'd really dealt with an injury. You don't ever want to see a guy go down on a stage like that in the Rose Bowl. You came back your senior year to get there. We probably, this isn't a secret, but we probably weren't as good my senior year as we were my junior year. We didn't have the playoffs that these guys have. And so there was a lot that went on to get there. And I think for me personally, I can handle that. I think the hard part for me still is my teammates and my coaches and all the time and the energy and the effort that they poured into getting there and playing on that stage. And the goal was to win the national championship. And to have that taken away from them and by an injury, I think I'll always wear that because that's hard. I mean, listen, the guys had never really heard a play call in the huddle from anybody else but me. I'd been playing for 4 years, and there was just a lot went on in that game that was hard, and I will always be so thankful for that group of guys and those coaches and the families that were involved. And so that's what's hard for me as the years go by, wishing that I would have not got hurt. But it was a special group and a special team, and I think we were definitely poised and ready to go attack that game. But it is what it is.
I've been doing this for 30 years. That's the one game I want to see redone. Yeah. That's the one. I just want to see it.
Well,
it eats me. It doesn't eat me up nearly as much as it eats you up. I understand.
Right.
But man, I just want to see it.
Yeah, I learned a lot. Obviously, we felt good about that game. But when you deal with injuries and you deal with disappointment and you deal with setback, and I mean, I'll always struggle with that neck and shoulder injury. I dealt with it my entire career, so I'm constantly reminded of it.
Right.
But yeah, that was one that was hard for me, but also it was hard for everybody else because we certainly, were fought through a lot that year to get there, and we felt good about it. And but that's football. I tell people all the time, if you're going to play football, there's a 100% chance you're going to get hurt, and you just don't want it to be on a big stage like that.
Be ready for it. All right, let's kind of transition away from football to your new venture. You mentioned it. Take me through what you're going to be doing and where you're going to be doing it and why you're so excited about it.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this new chapter, moving on from the NFL and starting my own business alongside great partners and great resources from HPI. HPI is a fantastic group of men and women who have done great things in the real estate world and have given me the opportunity to start my own business and office in Fort Worth. And so I think one of the most exciting things about this for me is building a team. I've been on great teams and I've been on teams that have struggled, and I know the difference between what a good team looks like and what a bad team looks like, and the culture and the goals and the just the overall sort of DNA and character of your team. And I think for me, that's a skill that I've learned throughout the years, and I'm excited to implement that in this new chapter of my life. And obviously, I get to just play quarterback. I'm just not going to be throwing the football. I'm going to be building a team and leading a team and hiring great people to come alongside me as we really grow this office. And I couldn't be more pleased to do it with HPI and the partners from Dallas and Austin that are going to come alongside me and really build this thing.
We've kind of touched upon this in a lot of different ways in this interview, but I want you to hone in because I'm a big proponent of team sports for anyone because I do think it prepares you for professional life. Are there particular lessons that really stuck with you and that you would like to pass on to younger people in terms of things that you learn in team sports that will serve you well when you're in a professional situation?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a huge team sports advocate. I mean, I would tell kids and parents all the time, play as many team sports as you can because the lessons that you learn will carry on with you for a long time. I played 6 sports in high school, and I remember bus rides after losing a basketball game and bus rides after winning a football game, and your ability as a leader to handle those moments, both of them, and to learn how to handle people and peers and teammates and the ups and downs and the discipline and the lessons that you learn along the way of counting on each other. And I'm calling a play in a huddle and I can execute it perfectly, but if the other 10 guys on my team don't do their job, we got no chance of success, right? And so team sports are incredible. They're awesome. They teach you a ton, and I'm a big advocate of that. And I hope to take the lessons and the experiences that I've learned playing sports and playing football for a long time and translate that into building a great company. And I have a lot to learn. I kind of see myself as a coach right now, but eventually I'll be a player, and I've got great people around me, awesome partners, and they've done tremendous work for years and years and years, and they have my back, and I couldn't be more excited about this opportunity.
What facet of real estate are you going to kind of delve into more, specialize in?
Yeah, I think we're going to be a full-service real estate office.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to do it all. I think there's some areas that we want to focus in early on as we get going, just based on living in Fort Worth and where we are there. But at the end of the day, I mean, this is a long-term vision for me. This is something that I'm excited and thrilled about doing. I've prayed about it. I've thought about it. I've wrestled with some things, and I just couldn't be more excited about the opportunity that HPI has given me. And in Fort Worth, which I think is the greatest city in America, and could have lived anywhere.
Yeah.
For a lot of my life, I was told where to live. You get drafted to Cleveland, you become a free agent, and you go to all these different cities and markets to go work. And now I look back, it's like, where do I want to live? Where do I want to raise my family? And I think, having the opportunity to live in Fort Worth and be involved in the community there, to give back, I've done that in all the places that I've lived. Moving back to Texas in particular has been a dream of mine for a long time, and I think we nailed it. My kids are happy, my wife is happy. We are so pumped to be in Fort Worth. It's a great place.
Last thing about translating your sports experience to your professional experience. With that 14 years in the NFL, I mean, I just think about the diversity and gamut of different people that you had to work with and that you had to lead. Was there anything you picked up about being at your best so that those around you, no matter where they're from or who they are, can be at their best?
Yeah, 100%. You learn a ton being in different locker rooms. Every locker room has a little bit different feel to it. And being around different guys from different areas, and guys you played against in college are now your teammates. Your coaches and different coaches that I played for, and sort of their coaching styles and their leadership styles. I mentioned earlier, I'm always learning. So I've got pages and pages of notes from everywhere I've lived and been and teams I've been on. And I think at the end of the day, a leader has to manage their own expectations. Until you can start leading somebody else, you got to be able to manage you and what your expectations are and how you want to carry yourself, how you want to be, how others see you. I think that's not done overnight. I think that's something that is learned, and that's something that requires some consistency. And that's just always been my approach. Is like I've got to manage my fears and manage my expectations before I can ever lead anybody else. And so I've picked up a lot. I've learned a lot. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I couldn't be more excited to go start my own business alongside great folks, great people, great mentors and resources as I go try to build a spectacular team that's going to do great work for a long time.
You've been successful your whole life, bro. I'm sure it's going to continue. Thanks for the time.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.